Good morning, and thanks for tuning in to episode 4 of the What's Your 20 podcast. I'm your host, EPD Special Projects Coordinator Taylor Maris, and joining me this week is Crime Prevention Officer Terrance Eastwood. Welcome.
I'm happy to be here.
I am so excited you're here. You're one of my best friends, as well as your wife.
Yeah, she is a really great person.
She is. We love her.
She's the only person that can make me dress up in a 1920s uniform whenever no one else did. Not even a uniform, a costume.
It was a costume. And you pulled it off really, really well.
Didn't I, though?
It was natural.
Yeah. Did you see my pandas?
Yes, I did. With your really high pants.
Yeah. They were really uncomfortable, but...
Yeah. But you pulled it off. It was a good way to celebrate your wife's birthday, for sure.
It was.
So, Mr. Eastwood, tell us about who you are, where you're from, all the good stuff.
Okay. Well, I was born and raised on the south side of Evansville, Indiana. Mm-hmm. And come from a big family. My dad had 7 kids, and he did the majority of them by himself. And come from a big family. I've always loved the Cosby Show growing up, so I wanted to have a big family myself, and I did.
You do.
I did. Same exact number as the Cosby Show. He had 4 girls and 1 boy, and so do I.
Wow.
Yeah, it's great, right?
It's almost like you planned that.
I did. I really did. No, it's awesome.
So where'd you graduate high school?
Graduated from Wrights.
Okay. Did you play any sports while you were at Wrights? Or?
I didn't. I wish I did, but I didn't. I played basketball at the neighborhood park, but that was pretty much it. That was the extent of that.
Yeah, very cool. So you came on the police department how long ago?
3 years.
3 years?
Yeah.
And you just recently took a new position on the department.
Yes, I did.
So prior to that, you worked motor patrol in West Sector.
Yeah.
And you really liked West Sector, didn't you?
I love West Sector. Yeah.
Yeah, because you only worked pretty much the same 2 beats for those 3 years, right?
Yeah. I started in beat 1 when I was alone, and then I got moved to beat 4, and then I've been there ever since.
Yeah, so for the people listening that don't know what the beats are, so in Evansville, Indiana, we have West Sector, East Sector, and South Sector. We don't have a North Sector beat. Mm-hmm. And then within those beats, within those sectors, we have beats. So West Sector has 4 beats, East Sector has 5 beats, and South Sector has 3 beats. So you've always worked west of 41 pretty much.
Right, west of 41, north of Diamond, and stops at Crattsville.
Yeah. So that was your area.
That was it.
But coming into the crime prevention unit, what made you want to make that change?
Well, my initial goal on the police department was I didn't realize that there was already a unit for it, crime prevention. But my initial goal was to bridge the gap between the community and the police department.
Right.
And whenever I realized that there was already a department that was specializing in that and focusing on that, then I put my bid in even before my 3 years, and I was like, this is what I want.
Yeah.
This is the whole reason why I'm here. So
from the moment I met you, you were always somebody that really just wanted to help people.
Absolutely.
And be involved in the community. And we saw that in a lot of different Facebook messages we received. Oh, yeah. Officer Eastwood was at this. We really appreciated him doing that. Or in pictures. Like, I love the picture of you showing the kid how to
spin the ball.
Spin the ball on his finger. I love that picture. Yeah. So you've always had that in you. And I'm so grateful and happy for you that you're on the CPO unit now. Absolutely. Because we work really closely between special projects and the crime prevention unit. Mm-hmm. We work really, really closely. But let's go back to like your academy experience.
Okay.
So after you applied, you got the job offer, went through all the background investigation work, you went to the academy, which is here locally in Evansville.
It is.
Which is super nice to have it here. But what was the academy like for you? Was it what you expected or?
No, it wasn't.
Really?
It was not what I expected
the answer.
At all. It wasn't.
That was not the answer I was
expecting.
I'm
going to just be honest,
Please do.
It was not what I expected at all. I didn't really know. I was the first in my family to take this leap and to take this step, so I didn't know what I was walking into at all.
Right.
So whenever my father told me that he had applied, but I guess he didn't make it, so he was really excited that I got selected. And whenever I went there and I passed the physical test and all of that, and the first time I even failed the written test by like 2%, and I was so hurt about that. So I went back the next year. I told him, I said, you guys are going to see me again.
Yeah.
And they did. And I scored the highest in my class at that point.
That's amazing.
I know, right?
Good job.
Absolutely. So the academy, it was definitely different than I thought in a lot of different ways. You know, first we had the gumbo of everyone, like the surrounding counties.
The gumbo. I like that.
Gumbo. That's exactly what it was.
I like that.
It was a gumbo. And, we got to learn a lot from a lot of those other officers who brought different things to the table. And they all had their different aspirations and things that they wanted to see in their own communities. So it was definitely a melting pot of a lot of different ideas and personalities and everything. And I loved it. I mean, it taught us a lot. You know, at times I like to look at it like it broke us down to create the opportunity for us to build the officer that we wanted to be.
Yeah. It's very challenging in some aspects. Like for me, for example, for defensive tactics, we kind of simulate what a fight would be like if you were to get in a fight.
Right.
And obviously it's monitored and all that, but that was the first time where I've like been taken to the ground before.
Yeah. I
didn't know what to do, and I kind of panicked.
I know it.
And, you know, that was a big eye-opener for me. And for some people, that kind of, I wouldn't say make or breaks them, but it's really eye-opening to the point, is this what I really want to do? Like the possibility of this happening, is this what I really want to sign up for? But it teaches you so much, and then you further educate yourself after the academy. And whenever I realized I needed to be better in defensive tactics, that's when I decided to step in front of 8,000 people and fight guns and hoses. I mean, what other better way to do it?
Right.
But
just jump out there.
Yeah. Why not? So your experience wasn't what you expected, but what can you talk about what you enjoyed the most in the academy?
Oh, man. So I think it was Evo. Everyone likes to drive fast, right?
Yeah.
Everyone loves to drive
It's
fast.
like a free pass to drive crazy.
Absolutely, yeah. So
Not crazy. Let me take that back. To drive fast around curves and brake really hard and swerve around
controlled
things.
Environment.
Yes,
It was definitely a controlled environment. Yeah, we had some slip ups, and but I believe Evo was probably my favorite thing to take away from the academy. I love just being away from our nest, is what I call Evansville, Indiana. I love just being away from our nest and being the group that we were in Evo, and creating the memories that we did, and being able to drive fast and learning new things. Everybody had their own threshold as far as speed goes, and watching everyone work through it, it was pretty cool.
So here in Evansville, even though our police academy is here, the Southwest Indiana Law Enforcement Academy, it's actually in the C.K. Newsom Center. But for the EVO, which is Emergency Vehicle Operation, we have to actually go up to Plainfield at the ILEA Indiana Law Enforcement Academy location and facility to use their track and some of their vehicles. And like you said, it's a controlled environment, and that's whenever you get to push the pace a little bit.
Absolutely.
No pun intended.
Yeah, really. That's exactly what we did.
So after the academy, once we graduate from the academy, we have to ride with field training officers.
Yeah.
And so what was that experience like? Learning everything that you learned in the academy, because that's where you learn it all. Like, I went to college for criminal justice and don't think I really learned how to be a police officer until I was in the academy and then went through my FTO process. So what sectors or shifts or beats did you work? All of them, or what did you work when you were in FTO?
I started in West. Brasher was my first one, and he was my plainclothes officer too.
He was just in the podcast before you.
I know. I saw him as I was leaving. I said, hey, man, how'd it go?
Isn't it weird how things kind of transpire?
It is.
Like, now you're on a podcast with the same guy that trained you.
I know, man. It's really weird. It is really weird. But I would like to say that whenever I had Brasher in plainclothes, that he would have saw my growth. But I don't think so, because I was so stressed out at that time.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God. Like, it's different. Whenever you are in the classroom, like, you can hear all of the information and take a test on Friday and ace that test because you have all that information. You learn more within your first week out on the street than you ever can in the classroom. Mm-hmm. So being out there is so different, man. It is. Luckily enough, I had some great FTOs that instilled some really good qualities and practices in me. And I've always kept that with me. Like Matthew Taylor, he was a really good FTO that I had. He had always told me, he said, I'm training you so that I can feel confident and comfortable if you were to respond to someone that I love and need.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
And that makes the most sense to me. Like, I get it. Mm-hmm. I understand that. So I always carried it with me. But I did never worked East. And it's ironic that I'm out there now as a CPO officer. I worked West and then South, third shift, and then I was West the rest of the time.
I loved thirds.
Yeah.
Not for you?
Not for me. Not for me.
If they could see your face right now.
No.
You gave me the look like, are you serious?
No, I could not do thirds. That was my first and only time ever doing thirds. And I was like, when does it end?
But like you said, you have a family full.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
So that would be hard to go home with, kids to get to school and waking up.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't have any of that. So I could just go home and sleep all day.
Oh, yeah. Lucky you. And then once the sun is up, I can't sleep, period. Everybody was like, you should get the blackout curtains. I got them.
Yeah.
I still can't do it.
It is, yeah. That is a thing because I hated when the time change happened on thirds.
Yeah.
Because when I could go home and it was still dark, I could fall asleep no problem.
Yeah.
But once the sun was up on my way home, it is much more difficult.
Absolutely.
So shout out to all our third shift officers because it's not easy.
No.
It's definitely a change of a lot of things in your life. So, and a lot of them actually sign up for thirds because it's better for their families too.
To some people, it is. If you can sleep while the sun is up, I take my hat off to you all day, but I can't.
Yep.
I just can't.
I agree. So then, do you remember your first run, like when you rode solo? So after you passed the field training program and you were out on your own for the very first time in that police car.
Yeah.
Do you remember your first run?
What's so ironic is that I was so amped and I was so hyped, and it was nothing but a vehicle check. I was so hyped. I was like, yeah, here we go. Camera's kicking on. I'm here. You can call arriving. I'm like, all right, here I am. Hop out the car. And he's like, yeah, this is it. I'm going punching in numbers. And I'm like, this is it.
So vehicle check, all we're doing is scanning the VIN number to make sure it's not stolen for somebody.
Right. But then my first
real run.
My first real run where I had to take a report, since I was in FTO, I was so used to typing up the report and then sliding it over to my training officer so he can check it to make sure I didn't have any errors. So I get done my report and then I go to slide it over and I'm like, nobody's there. Like, it's just me. I have to proofread and do everything to make sure that it's going through right. So
yeah, I guess I'll just send it in to the sergeant and see if it gets approved or not.
I hope he lets me know.
So were you ever in a partner car, or did you always ride solo after field training?
I was in a partner car. I was in a partner car very briefly with Heineman. I would say, can't quite remember how long it was, but I was in there with Heineman and he was definitely the yin to my yang. Like, you know, he was very, he had his strengths and weaknesses as well as every other officer, and as well as I did. And wherever he lacked, you know, I would jump in, and vice versa. You know, he was definitely taught me a lot also. So
yeah, it's always nice to have a partner. And I've had a handful of partners. Yeah. And whenever, it's just a totally different dynamic when you have a partner versus riding by yourself. And some people prefer to always have a partner. Yeah. And some people prefer to always be by themselves. Yeah. And so, you know, it's really kind of unique of why people make that decision.
I know it.
But now, I mean, you're in a whole new unit. So you serve the East Side.
Correct.
And talking about the crime prevention unit, you go to a lot of neighborhood meetings.
Absolutely.
How many do you have, like, in a month or a week? Or
I believe there's one. They try to schedule them at least once a week. So I believe this week I don't have any, but one of my coworkers, Andrew Smith, who I also work on the East Side with, he's out of town for training. So I was going to go to his last night, but it got canceled. So they try to schedule them at least once a week. If not once a week, then every other week. Yeah.
So you really get to know a lot of people in the neighborhoods on the East Side then.
Oh yeah.
And you serve, I don't know, 2 and 4 and 5?
2 and 4, and we share 5.
Share 5. Yeah. So 2 of you work in the East Side. That's a lot of work.
It is.
And not to mention just going to neighborhood meetings, but can you talk about what else you do in day to day? And I know it changes a lot.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But in your experience for the past month or two, what is the bulk of what you do as a crime prevention officer?
The bulk? Well, I never really realized how many abandoned vehicles there were in the city. Yeah, it's like a revolving door. You know, you get one of them done, and then you have 3 more rolling in. Like, they are all over the place. So we spend a lot of time trying to take care of that and get those numbers down. And then we also have the GVIs that we do, the group violence intervention, where we're going to make contact with people and offer them resources, you know, to let them know that they are not fighting this fight alone, that we are standing right there with them. Yeah. And any type of neighbor complaints, things like that, you know, we try to take the try to take the weight off of patrol shoulders as much as we can. You know, if there's backed up runs or, you know, the manpower shortage, you know, we like to hop out there and take those runs. Yep. To help out.
So if somebody wants to be involved in their neighborhood association, there's actually, is it United Neighborhoods of Evansville?
Yes, Evansville.org, I believe it is.
Yep, UNO, Evansville.org. You can find a whole lot of information. Honestly, until I was doing some research for this podcast, that was the first time I'd went to their website.
Really?
Yeah, I've heard people talk about it. At the last Coffee with the Cop, somebody recommended to somebody that attended to go to the UNO website. I'm like, I need to go to the UNO website. There's a lot of good information.
There's a lot of neat things on there, man. A lot of
informative.
Yeah, absolutely. I highly encourage anyone to go on, or everyone to go on there and see what neighborhood you're in and look at all the different things that you can do to help out your neighborhood, you know, and we are right there in partnership with you.
Yeah, and we, so Walking Wednesday it's already started actually, but in June, we will be kind of in your area.
Yeah.
So on June 12th, we'll be in the South Lincoln Park Neighborhood Association. And you haven't really been exposed to Walking Wednesday yet.
No, I haven't.
It's so fun.
Yeah.
And I know some people look at it like, why are the police officers just walking down the street? And it can be intimidating, but we just literally walk for a couple hours in a neighborhood to talk to people in their environment.
Absolutely.
We want to come to you instead of making you come to us.
Yeah.
And so Walking Wednesday is it's a blast. And I love seeing people from the neighborhood associations or people that are just outside doing yard work talk to us. Yeah. We've heard some really cool stories just getting to know people in Evansville. And so,
then just building that connection, you know? That is exactly what it's about. So I am very excited to do this Walk on Wednesdays.
Yeah. It'll be really cool.
Can't wait.
So you said the academy wasn't really what you expected, being a CPO. What you expected? No.
It is. It is. I knew that as far as the community aspect and the crime prevention goes, that it was going to be a lot. And kind of coming in, we were drinking through a fire hose for a little bit, and then once we kind of got caught up, you know, everything is starting to roll out on its own a little bit. But yeah, it is exactly what I thought it was going to be, and I love this position.
Well, and I've talked to other people in the department as people have transitioned into new roles or dove into different specialties. Mm-hmm. You really don't know what the units do on this department until you're exposed to them or in them.
Absolutely.
And until I became the special projects coordinator, I knew the CPOs did things. Yeah. But man, I did not realize how much they did.
It is a lot.
There's so many times where I have to refer to the CPO unit or ask your sergeant, hey, can you send somebody to this or can you do that? You guys truly do so much in this community.
Yeah.
So we appreciate you and your unit.
Oh, well, thank you.
And not only that, there are so many times where, you know, you just need to help out the department because it's so busy.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think people really recognize and appreciate when the CPOs come out of what they're doing to help out motor patrol or whatever they need assistance with. So
that means a lot.
Yeah. So
awesome.
Let's learn some fun facts about Officer Eastwood.
Let's do it.
Favorite movie?
Oh, that's a tough one. There's so many good movies out there. I believe my favorite movie is The Wood.
See, anytime I ask this question, I never know the answer. Like I don't know this movie.
Yeah, you don't?
No.
Oh my God, you have to watch it. Well, it probably won't mean as much to you as it did to me. It kind of reminded me of me and my brother's relationship together and how they kind of goof on each other and just growing up in the same environment. Sure. I think it's one of them is getting married and they're, you know, trying to find themselves before the marriage, and he ends up getting lost, and it's just so much, but it's so nice. Okay. I think it's so funny, man. It is so great. It just reminds me of the upbringing that me and my brothers had coming up. Yeah. And all of the memories that we share. It's so great.
Well, and I know anytime that I've shared something on social media that involves you, so many people are like, oh, Officer Eastwood, he's the best.
Oh, yeah.
And so I know that there's a lot of people in the community that support you and love seeing your name out there, too. So whether it's your brother, family, friends, whomever.
Yeah, and the family's huge.
Yeah.
So
I do see a lot of Eastwoods post whenever I put your name on our Facebook.
Yeah, we are everywhere.
Shout out to the Eastwoods there.
Absolutely.
Yeah. What about, I know you just went on a trip recently, but what's your favorite vacation spot? What's your favorite trip you've taken?
Anywhere in Tennessee.
So not the cruise.
No, absolutely not the cruise. We had 15 to 20 foot waves, and I found myself regurgitating, and not fun.
I told you all to put the patch on.
You did, and I didn't listen. I should have started the trip with the patch, but I didn't. I ended up, but no, the cruise was great. I can't say it wasn't. I mean, it was a really awesome time for us and the family. We got to see New York for the first time.
Yes,
and then we was on Bermuda, that was awesome.
Did you see the Bermuda Triangle?
We did. We actually went through it, and I was scared the whole time.
No, thank you.
Yeah, really.
No, thank you.
I was like, this is it.
Yeah.
This is it. I'm not coming back home.
No.
But I'm here. I made it.
So anywhere in Tennessee?
Anywhere in Tennessee. I believe Tennessee is I really don't know what it is about Tennessee. It just feels like home.
You just connect with it?
Yeah. My family's actually from Tennessee. I'm not sure exactly where. I have to talk to my pop, but we're actually from Tennessee, and every time I go back there, it feels like I'm just going home.
Yeah.
So I love it.
I get that. My mom lives pretty closely to Clarksville, which is, Tennessee. But so yeah, it's different down there for sure.
It is.
Yeah.
I just want to go see as much of this world as I can. Mm-hmm. But I believe whenever I think I want to end up somewhere around Tennessee.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So wrapping up here, you said, you didn't have a family or friends necessarily involved in law enforcement, but you knew that you wanted to make a change and you wanted to be involved in community outreach and engagement, and you wanted to become a police officer. So Do you have any words of advice to anybody like you or similar to you in that situation when there's nobody directly involved in their life that wants to be a police officer? Any words of encouragement or?
Absolutely. So one thing I've always carried with me through my career, and even still now, that there's only one way that you know when your shoes are too small. It's whenever your feet start hurting. So growth is uncomfortable. It's going to take you out of your comfort zone, and it's going to remove everything around you that you call normal. But you have to keep going. If it's more towards what you want to do, you have to always redirect yourself and look and reevaluate your position and exactly where you are to make sure that your vision is still in line with where you're going.
Yeah.
But as long as you are, you have to just accept the fact that growth is uncomfortable. It's going to take you out of your comfort zone, but you have to keep going.
That's amazing. I love that quote so much.
Right?
I'm going to use that.
Yeah.
Did you come up with that on your own?
I did.
Holy cow.
It's the only way you know your feet. Whenever your shoes get too tight and you're just limping around and doing a hobble walk, it's because your shoes are too small and now it's uncomfortable. So you're growing. It's time to get to the next phase.
I love it. I love it. Awesome. Well, thank you for being on the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. Thank you for tuning in to the What's Your 20 podcast. You can tune in again on June 8th at 9 a.m. And we will be talking with CEO Chris Holtzmeyer about his organization, Thin Blue First. And you have the radio voice, so I'm going to let you say this last sentence here.
Wow. Make sure to subscribe and follow our Spotify and YouTube account to stay updated on all the podcast release. And Chris Holtzmeyer is a really good guy. I just want to go ahead and put that out there. He's done a couple of ride-alongs with me, and he is definitely an asset to the department.
Yes.
I love Chris.
We appreciate Chris. We'll hear from him next week. Thanks for tuning in.